Telecom right now is going through a transition, and there's a lot of competition coming from over-the-top players. Over-the-top players would include applications like voice over IP, IP television, maybe internet television, all the online gaming that you see, all the application stores that you see. And one of the problems that we see in telco is how can they play a larger role in that ecosystem? How can they become closer to the users? This is our industry. OTT stands for literally over the top. And what it means is an operator builds the entire network. They spend billions of dollars to keep this network running effectively. And companies that are application houses, for example, YouTube is a good example. YouTube is viewable on any network worldwide. They don't pay money to the telcos to get their content out there. So they are over the top. In other words, they are not paying money to the telco to run their service. And that's a problem because the telcos see everyone wants to watch video from YouTube. So if they want to launch their own video, how can they compete? So that's the difference between an OTT like YouTube video versus an operator trying to launch their own, for example, a DTAC movie channel or an AIS movie channel on mobile phones. We're currently in the middle of launching our devices. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, I've already spoken at 2 events in Thailand to introduce our devices to the market here. We have some distributors already selected that we will go to market with. We also work directly with the telco players if they wish to bring our devices to market. And we have 4 that we're really targeting for this market. One is the new media pad, which you'll see inside the roadshow truck. That's our 7-inch tablet. And we also have 3 models of smartphone, all running Android, that we're launching. The Ideos X1, the Ideos X3, and the Ideos X5. So these will be the devices that we bring this year. Of course, we have lots and lots of devices at Huawei, and depending upon the market demands, we may bring those here, or you may see them naturally arrive in Thailand through sort of more gray market channels. For example, you might see them just arrive at MBK, maybe not through a proper distribution that would be part of Huawei. Targeted for this market is the media pad, which is our higher end device. I think you probably have seen the brochure here. This sign right by the coffee actually shows the media pad. And this is a dual-core, high-end Android tablet that we've launched worldwide in multiple markets. And it's very effective against some of the top devices being launched by competition. So we expect that to become our flagship device in Thailand as well as multiple other countries throughout Southeast Asia. With government relations, and of course Huawei is actively pursuing it because we fundamentally think that education is a critical way to introduce these devices and really transform. And that's one of the reasons why we're bringing these intelligent devices to market. But ultimately, it's in negotiations between the government bodies, so it lies with them. Enterprise division, which is not really one of the highlights in the roadshow today, but our enterprise team specifically targets verticals, and one of those verticals is education. So that includes solutions around e-learning, distance education, video learning, and that's something that's also being launched in parallel with the government's assistance and as well with universities. Given Huawei's track record, we're very aggressive with our take on market share, and I do believe that we can actually get there by 2013 without any problems. One of the things that we've done quite effectively, I think, and this goes back to the previous question about some of the other device manufacturers, Huawei strongly supports 3G and 4G technologies as one of the leaders worldwide in LTE and as well HSPA. And so we're putting more of an investment on those devices going forward. We have a huge investment in Android devices, and you'll see that at any of our events. Almost all of our devices are smart or intelligent, and we think that's the future. And we've already seen there's a transition between 2G and 3G. The players that were good at 2G will not necessarily emerge as the best players in 3G. We've seen that with telcos, and we've also seen that with device manufacturers. So we're heavily pursuing that 3rd place by 2013, and I think we'll hit that quite easily. Available where other ones are just simply not available. And that means that every country will probably select slightly different bands. And from a device manufacturer, that means that they need to make chips, for example, Qualcomm, that support multiple bands, multiple frequency bands. So realistically, how many is Qualcomm likely to support? And what does that mean in terms of operator investment? So the way that we see it is there are a couple of bands that are emerging that are probably more prominent than others. For example, 2.6 is heavily looked into here in Asia. The 700 megahertz band is also quickly becoming a very strong one for the device manufacturers. There's some in the middle that maybe what you'll see is some of the telco operators will launch trial networks based on certain frequencies because that's what's available. But that's not necessarily an indication of what they will ultimately launch on commercially. So for example, in Singapore, M1 has launched with a particular frequency, but their intention long term is to actually transition that into a more effective band like 2.1. In terms of Qualcomm, ultimately they want to sell devices. Same with Huawei as a vendor, we want to sell as many devices and products as we can. And so it's not really our position to get involved with what the government entities want to license or not license. Instead, we will support what naturally happens in that region in terms of the telecom environment. So, for example, if the opportunity is correct in a particular country to support a frequency, then Huawei will make a business decision based on the relationship, the same way Qualcomm will, and based on that, we'll figure out what devices are supported.